It'll be a happy ride back to Huntington, West Virginia for these guys.
You don't mind that bus trip back to the airport and the plane ride back in this kind of conditions.
Nice charter back in there to Huntington, West Virginia for these guys. Back home, 7 o'clock. They'll kick off in Huntington next week. West Virginia State kickoff at Marshall Stadium. Back to throw. Robinson. He throws again to the near side, a one-hopper. Nice shortstop move there by Dawson, but it doesn't count here in football. Incomplete.
This is a time when coaches will start telling their players, look, go out there, really concentrate. We know we're behind. It's unlikely you're going to win. And you never think that way, but you got to work on your fundamentals. You got to work on throwing the ball. For Kenny Robinson, he needs to continue to get better because he's going to play more games. Joe Dupree's going to come back and get healthy, but Kenny Robinson's going to play a lot of games. He needs to learn to throw off his right foot, how to run that offense, and kind of whip the horses, as we say.
Tim Stowers, tough day for the head man, goes 0-3 for Georgia Southern. These people don't liken those losses a great deal here in Statesboro. Third down, long yardage. Robinson back to throw. Big pressure and drop for a loss. And that was Emery. We haven't called his name much tonight. We thought he was going to be a real defensive stalwart and probably has been kind of playing his position, but he comes in for the sack and they dropped him for a 4th down play.
And just nobody even picked him up off the offside. Plus, you know, when you have a left-handed quarterback, that's the quarterback's blind side.
4 minutes and 9 seconds left to go in this game as you take a good look at the sophomore linebacker from Winchester, Kentucky. Mr. Emery steps to the sideline, and a sophomore, 1-year letterman, 6 feet 207. He's done his job.
Now notice something interesting down there on the field with Marshall Southern. There's a lot of white pants. Huh?
Yes,
they're clean. Some of those pants are clean, so they're starting to rotate guys in.
A lot of new people now as a timeout's called by Georgia Southern. So they take the timeout with 3:51 as the clock is wound under the 4-minute mark here. And some of the hardy of the Georgia Southern fans have stayed on to the bitter end here, while the green of Marshall have stayed across the way. And of course, a lot of those fans will be staying over in Statesboro and the surrounding area. Hotel rooms at a premium here in Statesboro and over in Savannah as well.
Yeah, I heard that. As we're moving my stuff out this afternoon.
That was interesting. Penalties have played a big part in the game. 13 for 125 for Georgia Southern, 3 for 11 yards against Marshall here tonight. But it seemed like every time Georgia Southern might get something going, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. And remember also, Georgia Southern got one of their key touchdowns with 2 straight back-to-back 15-yard personal foul penalties on Georgia Southern when they least needed that kind of penalties.
When they least needed it. And they opened up the game. Kind of poorly, getting the penalties on the kickoffs. I mean, you just don't want to start having your momentum set up like that for the entire day.
Tim Martin waits for an Eric Smith punt. You see the numbers still good. 7 for nearly 39 yards. And he booms a beauty. This will hang to the far sideline. It does, however, take a good Marshall bounce. Will hop back upfield and is down at around the 36 or 37-yard line. 36 yards on the kick by Eric Smith, just a tad under his average for the night.
Let's throw it down to Joe. He's got something humorous.
Let's go back downstairs to Joe. Joe?
Well, fellas, this is a look that you're probably thinking that I was going to go with tonight, but fortunately for me, stay dry, life as well, and we got a good football game on both sides. Back upstairs.
Thank you, Joe. Good job tonight, my friend.
Sporting that Dick Tracy look, isn't he?
That's right. He's even got one of those watches he keeps talking into, you know. Marshall with the football and a new quarterback running the attack. And back they hand it off straight up the middle. And they get a lot of new running backs in there. Larry Harris is their new quarterback. He's just a freshman redshirt, and they really think they've got themselves a find here. You thought Mr. Payton had some numbers when he came through there. They say that Harris could be a challenge to even some of those numbers after Donnan gets through with some of them.
You got that right. He is the future.
And of course, a lot of fresh running backs. You see Wicks, number 2, is in there. He played earlier in the game. Don't forget, immediately following our game, the blitz stays on as we go to Arizona State. Wildcats against Louisville immediately following our game here on Sports South. Hand off right up the middle. Marshall trying to wind the time with 3 minutes. Georgia Southern's going to take the timeout, stopping the clock. Carrying the football, who had done a job earlier on, is Darling. Remember, Darling had a couple of nice runs in that first half for them.
Had a couple of nice runs. This is a very, very balanced team. I mean, they've got talent. You know, we talked a lot about lack of depth because of the injuries. That's one of the things that Coach Donald was a little bit worried about. If someone got dinged up, who's going to really come in and fill in? I think a lot of guys have stepped to the forefront tonight and show that they're ready to play.
Yeah, Donna was singing the blues to us with 11 of his full scholarship people, not even on this trip.
Yeah.
And
Those coaches will do that, won't they?
As I waited for them all to get on the bus today, there must have been 9,316 of those guys over there. They carry the full complement of players here. And, of course, their scout team, which, by the way, is where young Kenny Robinson grew up last year with Georgia Southern on their scout team. Those guys just as important as almost the first liners to try to get you ready for a football game. Yeah. And now, of course, Mr. Harris trying to step into the limelight with the Marshall fans enjoying themselves here tonight.
Well, you want to have a lot of fun. If you come this far, you want to have a lot of fun. They'll be at the Legends later on.
This, by the way, could be the second worst loss at home for Georgia Southern if this score holds up. With 2 minutes and 56 seconds left to go, with the Herd leading 34-13, and with the football, Harris with Reed flanked to the near side, number 18. And again, has got Wicks and Darling behind him. Couple of real speedsters there. Harris. And he's going to be dropped for a loss. And they finally get the rush on, and coming up to make the stop, number 95. That is going to be T.J. Profit makes the stop.
Let's go down to Joe with a very special but disappointed guest.
Let's head back downstairs to Joe. Joe, you got a disappointed guest with you down there.
We do have a disappointed guest with us. Let's switch gears from Division I AA football to Division I. Powerhouse Florida goes into Knoxville. I'm here with Mike Jackson, our outstanding audio person. Mike, what happened in Knoxville?
Well, I wish I could say I saw the game, but it looks like Florida's as powerful as everybody says. I mean, Tennessee lost their quarterback start of the year. What can you expect? Florida's just too tough.
Question is, you're not going to drive off a bridge. You're not going to jump, are you, Mike? Please.
Oh, no, that's too tough. I couldn't do it.
Fellas, hats off to the boys from Gainesville. They're a powerhouse, and they should be number one. But then again, you don't know. How many points do they need to score to be number one? Question is, who knows?
Thank you, Joe. Maybe 31 was enough. Florida 31, Tennessee nothing, that final score. Up in Knoxville as Colquitt once again gets the kick down, and it dies, and Marshall again will come out after a 40-yard punt. There you see the numbers. The Ben's second worst home loss in the history, 35-10. And again, that came back in 1985.
Yeah, Joe was talking with the AD, Bucky a little bit earlier. Bucky Wagner a little bit earlier, and he was saying how these people down in South Georgia love football, and that's one of the ways they built this tradition. A lot of support, a lot of fan support. They also hate losing.
They do indeed. By the way, all that alphabet soup meant Middle Tennessee State University that was the last one to get that big win in here. Georgia Southern backing up on another penalty for 5 yards, stopping the clock for another minute or two. Some of the guys in the front line, frustrating night for these guys. They worked hard getting themselves on the field, trying to work out. That is Farrell, Isaac Farrell.
Big Isaac had a pretty good night.
Get our thanks to all of the sports information directors from all over the Southern Conference, certainly for these two schools. Folks at the Southern Conference in Asheville, the head coaches, athletic directors, and etc. All of them collectively have done a great job in preparing Sports South and us in the booth for a job tonight with a lot of numbers. We appreciate it all.
Thanks, fellas.
Gary Richter running the sports information department at Marshall, and Matt Rogers from Georgia Southern. You've met both the athletic directors and, of course, Jim Donnan and his staff, and Tim Stowers and his. Robinson throwing. That one is knocked down and almost picked off right near the line of scrimmage. That was Swafford, who thought he had a nice intercept. Look at the arms on that guy.
Ooh, I'm telling you. A couple of legs. He's got 4 legs. So here's what you got to watch out for this late in the game. You're running your hurry-up offense, and you're going to take a hit like that on your quarterback. That's tough.
Clock stops again with 1:32 to play. Close again on the 10:30 hour here in the East. Fear not, for you expecting that Arizona State and Louisville game will go immediately following our telecast tonight right to Phoenix for that game for you. Third down, short yardage. They give it off straight up the middle to Russell. Russell has the first down and then some out to the 46-yard line.
Good run. Good blocking.
By the way, after Marshall gets out of the conference next week on October the 1st, they will play host to UT Chattanooga at Marshall. October the 8th, they go to VMI. And October the 15th, they'll play host to Western Carolina. So they'll be in the conference after next week's non-conference game with West Virginia State. Here's Robinson back, and he is nailed. That's B.J. Cohen. Just nails him, and they said this guy has a tremendous amount of ability, an excellent athlete, and boy, did he get through there in a hurry.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing when you guys got guys like B.J. Cohen on your team who don't get as much playing time as you would think. That tells you got a lot of great athletes on that starting unit.
Georgia Southern, after tonight's game, will have to go right to UT Chattanooga for a Saturday kickoff at 7 o'clock on Sports South next week. October the 1st, they'll be back at home with VMI, another 7 o'clock game. On the 8th, they go to Western Carolina for a 2 o'clock afternoon game. And on October the 15th, they'll be at Appalachian State for a 7 o'clock game. And that's ahead for Georgia Southern and for Marshall after tonight's game here in Statesboro. Conversation going on with Robinson. You know, it's going to be interesting, and it would be interesting to be in their film room to kind of go through what Robinson is going to go with the offensive coordinator, certainly with Tim Stowers, and saying this is what, you know, if you'll just do this, believe it or not, even though you're getting beat 34-13, just some of the little things that Robinson might have picked up off the film tonight were sort of going to help him next week if indeed Dupree's not ready to play again.
There's a lot of good things you'll see in the film, a lot of things that you'll be able to work on and build on. And you know, there's rookie mistakes made tonight by Robinson, and he's a rookie. I mean, this is his first time really in there. The quarterback center exchange. You know, another thing is that he's a left-handed quarterback. Dupree's come in there. There's a certain rhythm to how he runs the option. Robinson brings his rhythm in. It's a little bit different. I mean, the team, it takes a lot of molding. And your quarterback, no matter what you say, you got to have 10 guys and a stud quarterback.
Minute 5 left to play. Out of the 2 slot backs, Robinson back to throw, the left-hander, and again they come free inside. Robinson gets away. Still running for his life, the left-hander throwing, and he makes the completion. A great hit by Wharton, and what a great catch as he's just shy of enough for a first down. That's a couple of young players. Wharton, of course, a junior, and Robinson just a freshman.
And Sam, if you're a coach right now, what you want to see is your team still trying to move the ball down the field and get some points on the board.
Just shy of a first down by about a half a yard. They whirl the clock with 53 seconds left to go. Robinson calling his team to attention. Dawson, along with Roberts, split to the wide side right. Snap, and Robinson's back to throw. Under pressure again, and he'll be swarmed under. The ball is up. And they call it a fumble. The ground cannot create the fumble, and thus he is down, and that's where they'll have the sack back inside the 45 to the 44-yard line. And that'll bring up a 4th down, and almost the original same 10 they needed with the time winding out here. And they'll go for a final play.
Exactly the same thought if you're Coach Ron Marshall. You want to see your guys continue to do it.
Let's take a look as he had a lot of pressure there. And there's Cohen again.
That's a fumble, Sam. It's not a, the ground didn't make that come out.
Well, they had it stripped clean. Robinson down the line of scrimmage. Pitch. Wharton, he's turned in the corner again. That'll be shy of enough for a first down. Marshall's defense will have taken over the football, and they'll stop the clock with only 4 seconds left to play. Well, Ben Hunt, it's been a night that Marshall came on the road. They did what they needed to do, and that, of course, is just to play their game, and they come away with a big win.
Big win, and if you're Georgia Southern, you got to go back to your fundamentals and start thinking about how do you rebuild your team. Where do you go from right here, right now? Are you going to find an identity for yourself, or are you going to kind of let this thing fester?
So it's Marshall joining East Tennessee State and also Western Carolina as the early leaders in the conference, all picking up conference wins today as we head for week number 2 next week, as Marshall will run out this final 4 seconds and will preserve a 34-13 win. And again, our thanks to all of our television crew here. We'll be switching you immediately out to Phoenix for the Arizona State and Louisville game. And don't forget about Georgia Southern again. We'll be on the road at UT Chattanooga next Saturday night on our Southern Conference game of the week as they run it out, and that's the end of the game. So that's going to do it tonight from Statesboro for all of us. Thanks for tuning in as Jim Donnan comes to Statesboro and gets the win over Tim Stowers. For Ben Hunt, Sam Smith saying so long, everybody, from Statesboro.